finally back. Bit of a break from the build, but yeah, getting back on it. So as we stand so far, we've got the rear bit gearbox built. That's part one. We've got the servo all set up inside the hop up. So we're going to move on and looking at this this manual. We're actually going to move on to fitting the servo, and then it's quickly into another gearbox again. Just looking at it, it looks very similar to the other gearbox. Might quickly go through that one, try and speed that one up a bit, so we can start getting the chassis together. But yeah, I shall be doing this video, obviously close up again, and I shall zoom in and we'll get going. Right guys, on to page 11, oh no, page 9. As you can see, this is starting to look like we're putting an actual chassis part of the gearbox together. It does look like the servo's going in first, so I'll have to dig around for screws, but apart from that, we've got, yeah, look, I've picked out this part C14 and this is A3, so they're off different sprues, so I've already picked those out. So I've got A3 and I've got C14. So I looked in the sprue and these look the same. There's two parts to this. There's basically a front and a back or a side, and left and right. I'm not too sure what the difference is, but just going on the pictures, looks like I've got this right. Let's try the servo to see what we do. So there's some parts here which look like they marry up inside. The servo has got to be, this is the important bit, obviously, get it the right way up. Ah, there's a guide. There's a guide on the side, so that's it. There's a guide there, so it sits in that guide. Right, so one's longer than the other, and it says, so it's obviously using the longer one with a spacer and use the shorter one without. So I didn't use a spacer, so let's just try and nip this up without a spacer. Just have a quick look, make sure that I mean, it looks right. So and like all these things, I can talk them up just a bit more because it's going into something metal. Well, I'm going to say that's okay, so let's just move on. Right, I'd obviously not had enough tea at my nice new mug because I tried to screw this on backwards. Yeah, that's not a good idea, but not to worry, I'll screw it on the right way now. Straight in there. Right, so we've got this assembly now the way they want it, and as the next part they're saying is to start building the gearbox. Now I'm assuming we're going to build the gearbox up here at the front. It's going to be exactly the same process as for the front one in terms of what I do with everything. So I'm going to replace all the bushings everywhere with bearings, and I'm going to put the same amount of grease on everything. So yeah, it's going to be sort of rinse and repeat, and I'll try and whip through this, maybe even hyper speed it. Right, so that's one diff built, and I just need to do what I did before. I need to be able to feel it, so I'm just going to get some output drives and just want to feel how it's all meshing together. If there's anything wrong, this is the time to find out. So it's as I expected, it's quite stiff because of the anti-wear grease. So that'll loosen up a bit. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too painful because it should have been done nice and quickly on hyperspeed. So next bit done. Right, we'll move on now. I'm a bit sticky. I might have to have a clean up in a minute. I'm a bit sticky left on the old grease. So right, so now we need this gearbox casing. So first up we need a bearing. Oh, what's this F7? Where's that popped up from? Looks like a bearing inside a container. Ah, okay. So there is something else. What's F7 then? Let's have a look. So it looks like it's these two red parts here. Not sure what the idea is behind this design. I haven't got a clue. Not sure why you wouldn't just have a bearing that fits. Right, that's clean enough there. It was only on one part, so the bearing fits in there easily. So does this fit in here nice and easily? Looks like it. Probably about time to get some grease on these gears to stick the bearings in and keep them stuck up. Just for now, I'm just going to dab a bit of grease on the bearings as they go in. Keep them all nice and stuck in there, stop them from falling out as well as looping them up. The usual trick, and smother a load of grease over it. We need a bearing in there, so put it around there, sit inside it, won't matter, but it will stick them in. I've got to grease it anyway. And obviously if you're going to do this, you need to clean your hands afterwards because it gets everywhere. Plonk that down there on the shaft, and then we plonk this on there, and this should mar up, and we can hear it all nice. The bearings make a huge difference here. It rolls nicely. We've got this part done. It's basically just a case of just doing the other side now. So I've got this other sprue, and if we look on the instructions, it's showing us basically a mirror image of what we've got here. Right, so if we hold this way around, they want it to go that way. That feels like it's in the right place. Okay, so that's that part. Now, this other part's going to come into play, which I took a little bit of figuring out last time. I want to chop this off as close to this sprue as possible. Just learnt my lesson from last time. There is a lip there, so when you push it in, it does go up to a lip, which can be a bit confusing if you're not too sure how far in it's supposed to go. So you just need to look on the back and see if it's gone up to the lip, which that has. That's up to the lip. And then we're going to need a bearing in there. Just have a tiny bit of grease on that just to stick it in there. That's actually that part made up. So now we've got to stick the two together at some point, and I want to make sure I'm ready at this point. So I'm going to have to grease this. I'm going to try and do this without getting too much on me, because it will rub in. I say that and I never manage it. Doesn't seem like, after I've said it, it never seems like a good idea to cut corners on something that's so important. So for this case, it's going to be my trousers. That's got plenty of grease on it. We want 3 screws to put it together. And I guess we'll find out if this servo's in the right place now. So it slides on the servo, like the other side did. Okay, that's snapped. That's snapped together. I definitely want to feel if this gearbox feels alright after I've done this up. Right, so there we go. Like I said, there's a little bit of a gap back there, but the rest of it, apart from a little bit of grease on it, that's the whole assembly now, so it's starting to look like a chassis. So unusual mount for the servo, definitely an unusual one. Seems to be in the right place okay. I'm not really going to know until I know I've trimmed it up in terms of the best I can, but it's not going to be easy to get back out if I haven't got it right. So I hope I got it right. I need to check whether or not whether this gearbox is moving smoothly. Should be able to whack one of these in. Yeah, there's one. There's two. Right, now somewhere, see there's the drive that's going to go to the drive shaft, the main drive shaft. So if I hold that, it gives me a clue whether what the diff's doing. It's fairly stiff, but it is obviously in the right place and working properly. And we've got movement on that bevel. Yeah, it all feels good. Right, so that is to the end of page 10. This is where it becomes a variable wheelbase. So you've got that one's the 210, which is their class is short, and then that one's medium, which is 225, and that one's long, which is 239. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave assembling that for the next video. It'd be nice to get straight into assembling. I think pretty much the whole chassis is going to go together in one big lump here. Yeah, so we're going to skip quite a few pages and we're jumping back in again on, well, pretty much page 14. So yeah, we'll call that quits. We'll call this as an assembly all done. We've got the front end and the back end. What's missing is one of these parts to give it the length for the wheelbase. So that's that assembly. This is going to join onto that with the right part for the middle, and that middle is going to determine the wheelbase. But I'm going to put this out as a video, so we'll have a full chassis together fairly soon. Cheers guys.